Welcome to the From My Stand podcast with Matt Hinkle. Whether you are an avid hunter, a novice, or someone interested in the sport, Matt has a unique perspective to share. Sit back, relax, and kick your boots up as Matt shares what he's seeing from his stand.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's episode. This is the very first episode of a brand new season, Season 2. The overall title for Season 2 is A Year in the Life of a Hunter. And this is the first calendar year, full calendar year, that this podcast has been up and running. And so I thought what we would do in Season 2 is kind of give a little glimpse into what a year in the life of a hunter is like, starting, right at the end of one hunting season, going into the next. So that's what we're going to be doing in Season 2. I'm glad and excited for you to join us today. Today's episode 1 of Season 2, is called Next Season Starts Now. Next Season Starts Now. So it's middle of February, and here in the Midwest, now I know it's a little bit different around the country, but here in the Midwest, most of our hunting is winding down. Deer hunting is all over. Even squirrel hunting's over. I guess, there's some rabbit hunting going on. I think there may even be some duck and geese that's still legal, but most everything is winding down. And so the question is, what do we do right now as outdoorsmen? What should I be doing with my time right now? Well, that's what this episode is all about. How you can start and get a head start on next season right now at the end of last season. Today, I want to talk to you about getting a picture in your head. You may even want to call it a vision, but getting a picture of what you want next season to be. Because I'm a huge believer in the fact that that's where everything starts. The Bible says in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. And a guaranteed way for something to fail is for there to be no vision. When there's no vision, it leads to failure. You can't do what you don't envision first. Envisioning something comes first, doing it comes second. So, we've got pretty much the whole year in front of us. But I'll tell you this, next hunting season, it's going to be here just like that. It'll be here very, very fast. And so in today's episode, I just kind of want to talk to you about, what you can be doing right now, what I do, how I kind of approach the next season, because, I always say, and, I didn't come up with this or originate this. A lot of people have said it, but I certainly have used it kind of as a motto and a mantra through the years, is that there is no off season. As soon as one season ends, the next season begins. So what kind of things can you be getting together right now in preparation for next season? I want to give you 4 thoughts today, and all of them start with the letter T. So it's be kind of a simple little thing to remember. But the first thing you want to get together is your time. Your time. There's no way around it. Hunting takes time. There is lots of different ways to invest in the outdoors. We all invest differently when it comes to, we all invest differently monetarily. Some guys are out getting the best of everything, all the gear, top quality. They're getting the Cadillac of everything. And then other guys are getting everything budget, the cheapest stuff they can find. And then a lot of guys are just right somewhere in the middle. Some guys, they do all their hunting on public land. Some guys go out and buy land to hunt on or lease land to hunt on. So, from a money standpoint, we're all at different levels in that respect. But one thing you can't get out of is, in order to be successful in the outdoors, it's going to take time. So I always say, in the dead of winter, when you're not really doing much, start to make your plan. Plan the time that you are going to spend in the outdoors. Get the season dates on the calendar. Now, next up here in Ohio is turkey season. All right. In the 2025 turkey season, now I am not including the fall turkey season, but spring turkey season, youth season opens up Saturday, April 12th. The general turkey season opening day is April the 19th. Now, from April the 19th to April the 27th, you can only hunt from dawn until noon. You can't hunt in the evening. But then on April the 28th, all day hunting starts. And the turkey season ends on May the 17th. Generally, I've done a little better in the all day part of the season. I've shot a lot of turkeys in the evening. So that's where I kind of try to focus my time. But, opening weekend is really good too. And getting out there and getting those gobblers right at dawn is certainly a great way to go. But Ohio has it broke up like that, where you have the morning only hunting for about half the season, then second half of the season they give you all day. So that's turkey season. Squirrel season usually comes in around the Saturday of Labor Day. It's not posted yet. They're not published. The season dates aren't yet. But I'm going to be saying that squirrel season opens up around September 1st. And I do squirrel hunt, and I take squirrel hunting pretty serious. I've already had an episode about squirrel hunting. I'll probably, do some more about that. I think squirrel hunting is a great way to get out and just get in the woods, get your senses back about you in the woods before it's time to chase something a little bit bigger. And it's a lot of fun. So squirrel, I'm always paying attention when those dates are, and I'll be out. I mean, very few Labor Day weekends in my entire life have went by that I didn't get out at least at some point and do a little bit of squirrel hunting. Now, deer season, these are all approximate dates because they're not published yet. They're not posted. But in Ohio, the deer archery is going to come in right around September 28th, and it's going to go all the way to the end of January. Youth gun will probably be the weekend of November the 15th. General gun season in Ohio is always the same week. It starts the Monday after Thanksgiving, but that'll be December 1st through the 7th. Then gun season comes back in for 2 days on December the 20th. And then muzzleloader season will be in January. It'll be like 4 days in January of 2026. Don't know what those dates are yet. So what I do when I'm kind of planning a hunting season ahead of time is I'll get all those dates on the calendar and I will look at those weeks. Now, just so you know, I'm not in the outdoor industry. I'm not in the business. I'm not a professional hunter. If you knew me real well, you would definitely agree with that. So I'm just a guy I've got a family. I've got a career. Now, I do take hunting very serious and I do prioritize it. I program it into my life. And so I'm very used to it. My family is very used to it. My job is very used to it. But, I can't just hunt whenever I want. So I take the calendar and I look at the seasons, and then I try to figure out how much hunting I can do. Normally, I can get out around 150 hours every hunting season. That sounds like a lot, but that's over several months. But I try to get out for about 150 hours in a season. Usually that's enough time to get it done. But that's kind of how I look at it. And I'll show you how I break that down here in just a minute. And Stormy the cat wants to be in the show today, so she's kind of climbing all over the place. No, Stormy. She's going to bother that camera if I'm not careful. Okay, so first of all, plan your time. Secondly, number 2, plan your, I'm going to call it your turf. Plan your turf. That is where you're going to be hunting, the ground that you're going to be hunting on. Now, this upcoming year, things could change, but I know for a fact that I'm going to be able to get into about 4 different places. 2 of them are new, 2 of them are old, meaning places I've hunted before. 2 of them are on public land, and 2 of them are on private land. So I've got like 4 places that I'm kind of zeroing in on that I'm going to spend all my time hunting on. Okay. Now, what I plan on doing is about the first 4 weeks of the season. So starting on opening day, right around the last Saturday of September, I'm going to concentrate 3 to 4 weeks on these new places and some public land that I want to hunt. Okay. And I'm already starting to put on the calendar what days I'm going to hunt and where I'm going to hunt those days. By the way, I've got maps, just printed out topo maps and terrain feature maps that I'm starting to kind of figure out where I'm going to be hunting. Now, by the way, in just a couple of weeks, in season 2, we're going to air some episodes on scouting. And I've already got a lot of footage. I've already been scouting. It's February right now. I've already been doing a lot of scouting. In fact, I found this guy just a couple of weeks ago out doing some scouting. It's just as you can see, it's kind of small, but it's a small 10-pointer. I found it on some property that I was scouting, and just took the head out with me. And some of you saw that little video on social media and that little short we did on YouTube where I was boiling the deer head. Well, that's this one right here. This is how he turned out. Turned out pretty good. And that setup you saw, that's how I do that. And then, after you boil them and clean all the soft tissue out as good as you can, then I'll take them and pack it in salt so that any soft tissue that may still be there that I missed, it kind of gets mummified and hardened up. And then you just bleach them. I've used like a bleach mix that is made for bleaching skulls, but I've also just dipped them in bleach. Now you have to be really, really careful because, when you do that, you don't want to bleach the antlers. You'll ruin that bone look of the antlers. Excuse me, I got to get this cat out of here. Go. She's going to knock the camera over. Sorry about that. She was getting dangerously close to that camera. So anyway, I've got 4 main places that I'm going to be hunting. I'm already doing my postseason scouting. Like I said, I'm looking for sheds. Found this guy the other day. But we'll have some full-blown episodes in the next couple of weeks on all things scouting. But basically, I'm in there trying to identify bedding areas. I'm trying to identify where I think they may be feeding in the fall. And then, we'll talk about it in those scouting episodes. I'm a big believer in hunting. The first thing I do when I scout is I try to locate their security, their bedding areas. Now, I don't think it's wise to try to hunt in a buck's bedroom. You can get too close and blow him out of there. But I do think it's a good idea to hunt as close to the bedding as you can without disturbing it. And we'll go into some reasons for that. Deer spend most of their daylight hour life in their bedding areas. That's where, and then they come out at night to feed. People always talk about a buck went nocturnal on them. Well, bucks are already pretty nocturnal. And so they spend most of their lives in daylight hours in and around their bedding areas. So, if you're hunting real close to feeding and they're feeding at night and they're going back to their bedding in those first couple hours or first few minutes of morning light, and then they're coming out of bedding the last few minutes of evening light, then you need to be sort of at the bedding end of the spectrum if you're trying to intercept that buck. But we'll go into all that. There's tons of different theories and philosophies about that. But I'll kind of explain how I do it. And we've got a lot of raw footage of actual scouting. I'm going to show you like deer beds, trails, feeding areas, just all the kind of things to look for. I hope to have I think these are going to be some really informative and really helpful videos on scouting. And those are going to be coming out in just the next couple of weeks. But right now, now's the time figure out when you're going to hunt and where you're going to hunt, and get it down on paper. Get an understanding with your family. Get an understanding with your job and your career, because a lot of people, they want to hunt and they want to be good at it, but they don't start early enough. And so, October rolls around and they're like getting their equipment out and they're talking to their wife or husband about, hey, I want to hunt this day or that day. And they're trying to get off work. And, it becomes a big problem and a bunch of stress. And I'm just telling you, figure out when you want to hunt and where you want to hunt. And if you're going to seek permission somewhere, or if you're going to try to secure a lease, it's a lot less stressful and it's a lot easier to go early. And, if you're trying to get permission somewhere and somebody's a little slow to give you permission, you got like the whole spring, the whole summer. Maybe you could offer to do a little bit of work for them, or, come up with some kind of an exchange so that that they might be a little more apt to let you hunt. But get your time organized right now. Get your turf organized right now. Get all that known. And then once you have that turf known, once you have that turf organized, scout it, study the maps, figure out exactly what you're going to do on that ground in this upcoming hunting season. Then two other things just real quick. Take some time to organize your team. Who are you going to hunt with and when? Right now is a good time of the year to be thinking about that. Last year I hunted with some guys in New York, and the guy that invited me, he invited me like around the holidays the year before. And then after the holidays passed, we started talking kind of serious about it, and he ended up having me over to his house to eat, and it was February. And we were talking about the hunt in November all the way back in February. So, a lot of you already have a real stable hunting partner that you go with, and that's not going to change this year. But, I just, and a lot of people hunt alone. I do a lot of hunting alone, but I do hunt with people. And so, figure out who you're going to be hunting with, when you're going to be hunting, and stay in touch with them all year. Compare notes. Go scouting together when you can. But I know not everybody's lives allow for them to do that. And so if you can't necessarily be on the property at the same time together, at least make sure that you're comparing notes. Don't be secretive with your hunting partners. That's not a good trait to have. So if you're hunting with somebody and you guys are hunting on a certain tract of land, just be transparent, compare notes. And that's usually a good way to go about that. So, get your time together, get your turf together, get your team together, and then last, get your tools together. Get your tools together. Spring is a good time to purchase new equipment. If you got something old and outdated, something broken or obsolete, and you need to replace it this year, this is a good time of the year to go. Sometimes you have off-season sales that you can take advantage of. Also, hunting is an expensive proposition, but I found that it is a lot more palatable with the family if you do things slowly and incrementally. I mean, if you go to your wife 2 or 3 weeks before the season and say, hey, I need to go buy $1,500 worth of equipment all in one weekend, that might be a little stressful, and that may not be too well received. But if you identify in February what you need, and you can go spend $500 in March and another $500 maybe in May or June, and then that last $500 in August or September, and you're just kind of incrementally getting the stuff that you need, sometimes that can be in your favor. So anyway, just also, even if you're using old stuff that you've already had, get good with your stuff. Practice hanging tree stands. Practice with your bow. Practice with your gun. And make sure that when the time comes, you know your gear inside and out. You know your tools inside and out. I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I think it's a big deal. I think it matters to know everything that's going to be in your pockets, everything that's going to be in your backpack, because a lot of times in hunting, you're going in and out in the dark, and you need to do that quietly. So it's better if you just know where stuff is. And so that just comes with familiarity, practice, and getting really, really familiar with all of your stuff. So anyway, that's some of the ways that I start next season right now. And I would encourage you to do that as well. I know that not everybody's going to approach this with the same level of seriousness and with the same priority. But if you're one that says, Matt, I really want to succeed this fall, I want to meet my goals this fall, then really next season starts right now. You got time, and get after it and start now. And, good things happen to people that prepare. Success in the fall it usually is a result of preparation in the spring. So anyway, I hope that's been helpful to you in some way. I'm your host, Matt Hinkle, and that's how I see it from my stand.
Thank you for listening today. Be sure to tell your buddies and follow us on your favorite podcasting platforms. Y'all take care.